Hello, everybody. Here we go again. Football is stupid. Football is broken. Why can't we all just get along and play nicely? Of course we can't. And now, Manchester City, the dominant force in English football for a decade or more. 4 championships in a row. Treble winners last season. 6 Premier League titles in 7 years. The dominant force in the Premier League is, of course, suing the Premier League now. We thought this was coming in February. I think the BBC went with this one, that Man City were going to attempt to sue the Premier League and sort of try and get in front of the 115 charges that the Premier League have brought against them by basically saying, okay, you're going to accuse us of something. Well, before you're able to do that, we're going to accuse you of something. And this all came out in the Times yesterday. We'll pick through a little bit of what has come out of Manchester City through that Matt Lawton article in the Times and kind of what it means. But I know, get in the comments, I know a lot of you are just going to be banging your head against the brick wall here, because this is just so infuriating for those of us who just want to watch our teams play football in a world that isn't just completely filled with massive greed to be the top dog and everybody attacking the top dog and the top dog attacking back. And could we have some kind of level playing field at some point in the foreseeable future? Hey ho, let's see what this article says. So there's going to be a hearing. There we go. At next week's hearing, City will attempt to end the league's associated party transaction rules, which they claim are unlawful, and seek damages from the Premier League. So these associated party transactions, this actually is probably Man City attempting to drive a bus through the 115 charges, isn't it? Because a lot of those charges, and by the way, these new rules only came in 2021. So Manchester City's alleged infractions that they've been charged for, the infractions aren't alleged, the charges are real. I'll try not to be too careful with my language, hey. Everybody knows what's been alleged and accused, don't they, by now? But the idea is that if you run a football club and you want to maybe make the books look slightly better, you could take another company that you may run and you could sponsor your football club using that company and maybe stick the name on the shirt or on the stadium or something like that. We've seen plenty of this. And it turns out now that the rules say that this is allowed as long as it is at market value. I don't know, either allow it or don't allow it, I think. But yeah, the idea that, I don't know, I could go and sponsor X business and pay 20 times over market value and put cash into the FFP position, which isn't necessarily earned. Essentially, if only there was a word for moving money from one organisation to the other in slightly nefarious ways. A word which I'm not going to say, but I think you all know what I'm kind of getting at. Doesn't feel great. Man City are arguing that these rules that have been put in are actually against English law. And obviously, if they were to successfully argue that, then all of a sudden, do the 115 charges have to be all rejigged? Does that hearing then become a nonsense? I don't know. This seems to be the attempt of making enough noise before. And it actually says in there, November. I always get asked whenever we talk about FFP, whatever the subject is, whoever it is, I don't know, Reading, Birmingham, who have we had over the years, Nottingham Forest, Everton, someone will always ask, well, when are Man City going to get charged? Well, there you go. The hearing, charged, found guilty, found innocent. The hearing is going to be in November this year, according to the Times there. The league's other 19 clubs have been invited to participate. This is the whole stupid thing. The Premier League champions are suing the Premier League. The Premier League is essentially made up of the 20 Premier League clubs. So Man City are essentially 1/20th of the Premier League. And it looks like the Premier League's tactic here is to, I'm sure they don't want to create division, but Man City are big, powerful, got loads of highly qualified QCs and far more intelligent legal minds than probably me or anyone who's ever watched this channel. That's just not what we do. We want to watch some football, don't we? But it sounds like the Premier League are essentially going to try and bring the other member clubs to speak against Manchester City. Apparently this is all going to last 2 weeks and it's going to start on Monday. What an absolute blooming mess. So they want damages from the Premier League on the basis that they've lost money because of their associated third-party transaction rules. And also, slightly concerning there, look, they accuse rival clubs of discrimination against golf ownership. What is a disagreement in the 2020s without somebody accusing somebody else of discrimination? I don't know what was said or by whom, but look, I'm not advocating any type of discrimination. That's not right. But let's be honest, we've all seen things like that be thrown in just to add a little bit of extra carnage into the conversation. As I say, I don't know what was said or by whom, but that doesn't really change the issue here. Are the rules legal or not legal? Are Manchester City going to be successful in this attempt to sue the Premier League? What does that mean for the 115 charges? I mean, the whole thing is entirely ridiculous, isn't it? When you think about why FFP and sustainability rules were brought into the first place, I mean, I guess the main reason was to stop clubs. I mean, look what happened to sort of Portsmouth, I guess. Going from top to bottom and Bury and situations like that where you get owners who are not necessarily being too prudent, and all of a sudden these amazing businesses, what we call public assets that people have got attachments to through generations, could just disappear. That's why they were brought in. The other reason was in some way to ensure some kind of level playing field. Else, it just gets stupid, won't it? Whoever's got the most money is going to be able to spend the most money, buy all the best players, buy everybody else's best players, buy everybody's staff, buy everybody's youth team players, buy the world, I don't know, buy the internet, buy everything and make sure that you can win. And I don't know, doesn't that feel a little bit like, sort of the kids playing and the rich kid, he gets more equipment and more lovely thing than everybody else. And it's not really fair on little Jimmy, who just wants to play a fair game, but maybe little Tarquin. It's not fair. Poor old. I'm sure there's some nice Tarquins in the world. That name always gets brought up for some kind of spoilt rich kid. And I don't know, am I accusing Man City of being spoilt rich kids? I guess a little bit. Their whole... look, I used to love going to Man City. I remember going to Main Road and watching Ipswich. I thought it was a great club with and kind of in the shadows of Manchester United always, weren't they? And they were the... I don't know, they were the sort of the real club in Manchester, weren't they? And Manchester United were this theatre of dreams and all of that. So I've got a lot of respect for Man City, but there is no argument that this era of Manchester City and by extension this era of Premier League domination has been built on the fact that Manchester City were able to invest absolute shed loads of Sheikh Mansour's money ahead of financial rules being kicked in. And yes, you can say, okay, there's been financial rules since, but that head start and, that early investment, which is kind of being investigated, is the root of all of it. What's going to happen? I'll tell you what I hope is going to happen. I don't want complete chaos. I've got nothing against Man City. Obviously, it's not going to be good if they win this case and there's even more carnage to the 115 charges, because also I'm a fan of Pep Guardiola and Kevin De Bruyne and beautiful football, and they play that, but it's all still tainted until we sort this out. So I would love for everything to be done in November, the 115 charges, whatever happens with that happens, and the people invested in taking down Man City or their clubs may have won a Premier League are always going to argue against it. I just want to move forward in a sensible way, which is seeming less and less possible these days with football. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Try and keep it calm, but I do understand this whole thing is just stupid Can we sort out our beautiful game, please?